I'm going to go over your, okay, so I'm going to go over chapter 10's test. So you've got your, and there's a little piece that I haven't added that I need to add, which would be the cultural part, so I have to fix it later this afternoon. But vocabulario en contexto, it's just like all your other tests. You've got vocabulary and context. So just read the statements below and then plug in the correct vocabulary word that would complete the statement. And so you'll want to look at, remember how I made you guys, I make you that sheet that shows you the pictures and goes over what each vocabulary word is. That you can find under instructional videos. I would look at that again. This is also una historia muy triste. This is also still vocabulary. Your friend Penelope told you a very sad story about Alicia and Roberto, her parents' old neighbors. Select the verbs that are missing in the following parts of the story. And this is still just vocabulary, so it's not tricking you on conjugation. You just pick basically the vocabulary word that would make the verb that is a vocabulary word that would make the best sense in the sentence. Then we move to gramática y contexto. Do you remember Marcelo Rios, who we were just listening about, the most famous Chilean tennis player? Read the following interview and complete it with the correct preterite tense form of the verbs provided. So you're just going to read through this. It's a dialogue, and you're going to take the words that are in bold and you're going to conjugate them into the preterite. And so just remember to go over in the PowerPoint you've got the endings for the preterite, and then you've also got a bunch of the irregulars. But from the notes that we went over, you might want to look at some of those because of the fact that I don't think in that packet that they talk about CAR, ZAR, or stem changing verbs, which we also went over. Then you've got another one that's the same, a similar situation. Fred is writing an essay about 3 heroes of American independence. His command of the past tense is not very good, so he asked you for help in writing the following verbs in the correct preterite form. Can you help him? So again, you're just going to read this particular paragraph and conjugate the verbs in parentheses into the preterite form. And you have one more where you're doing that. Carolina met a Chilean student, Paloma, who now lives in the United States. In this dialogue, Paloma is telling her how she ended up living in the United States. Complete Paloma's response with the correct preterite forms of the verbs provided. So you're doing the same thing. Read through the paragraph, conjugate the verb into the preterite. And remember that if your verb is reflexive, like enamorarse, the reflexive works the same way as it did in the present tense, that your reflexive pronoun just goes in front. All right, and so la agenda de Carolina, today is Friday the 10th. Carolina is explaining to you her busy calendar, but she's a bit confused between, oh, you guys aren't seeing it. Oh, well. I'm sorry you're not seeing it, but I'm recording it at the same time, so I'm going to send it out to you and then you can see it. Today is Friday. There, maybe you can see it now. Now you can see it. Today is Friday the 10th. Carolina is explaining to you her busy calendar, but she's a bit confused between things she already did and things she's currently doing. Use her calendar to match the information correctly. So these are some of your words that go with preterite. So you'll just want to look over those words like anoche, anteayer, el día 18, el miércoles que viene, and then match the activity with what is happening based on the calendar. Because on the calendar, they should have all of those things mentioned. And then here we're talking, remember you've had to deal with on a certain day. So you're going to use these particular words to complete the paragraph, whether you need el, in, or de. And so that would be, you can look in the back of your book or at our Cornell notes. We went over, that was in there too, from the videos. But you would look at page, that would be on page 180, and it would be section 3 talking about dates. And that's going to be the same here. Fred and his Chilean friend Miriam are talking about important dates in her life, what words they need to use to state the dates correctly. So that's, again, that page 180, section 3 talking about dates. And then my spacing was a little off. And then this is just for writing. Cinco fechas importantes. Can you think of 5 events in your life that were memorable or important for some reason? So kind of like what we were doing today, we were talking about what you did last weekend. This time you're just going to talk about, you can talk about your whole entire life. So you can just mention, on the 15th, I finished my test. So you'll just write a few sentences, and you're just supposed to include, you know, the year in which you did it, the month and the year, the day, month and year, the month, the day of the week that you did it. So again, you'll want to study that section 3 talking about dates, so you can tell on what day you did things. And then writing, you're running for president of the student council and need to write a brief biography. Write your biography and use 5 of the following. So you just write, so just write like over the course of your life, as if you're running for president and you're writing your biography, just write, I don't know, 3 to 5 of the main things that happened in your life using antes de, después de, entonces. So you'd be like, you know, I was born, da 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 da, then I went to school here. So just make sure you're using those sequencing words when you're writing your biography. It doesn't need to be that long. And then we have a listening section. And what I need to add is I always take from your from the videos that you watch. I take cultural questions, so I haven't added those yet, but I'll add a few questions from the video that you watch for chapter 10. So